why it's important to be supported and and support your family at the same go. So it's important to be supported by your family, and it's important for you to give them support too. So that's what tonight's show's about. Sorry, I had a little bit of a mix-up on my wording there. But welcome in, welcome in. Hope you guys will enjoy the show. Trying to fix the armor here, make sure it's right. But how's everyone doing tonight, guys? Welcome into the show. Hello, my Jin Jin. Oh, wait, I forgot to do something. I forgot to set to all messages. Sorry, everybody. So maybe now I can see everyone's messages. But what's up, my Jin Jin? How you doing, baby? You're the first one in here on the show. You know, not only that, we now have a guest. Welcome into the show, man. Tonight we're going to be talking about getting support from your family and why it's important to support them as well. You know, guys, this is going to be kind of a personal episode for me. So come along with me on this journey and let's have a great conversation. We're just waiting on a few more people to come in. And guys, the chat is open. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. What's up, BMC? How you doing, man? Hey, First Light. That gets a skull. Scald, my friend. Yes, we are getting back to the scalds. We are getting back to the old show. We're going to try to get back to the roots. Just improve a little. But how you doing, BMC? Waiting on just a few more minutes. Am I vegan? No, I'm a carnivore, brother. I am a carnivore, man. Well, I'm an omnivore. I eat what is an opportunistic thing to eat at the moment. What's available. But no, I wouldn't be. If I was vegan, I wouldn't be wearing this, man. This is real leather. Thank you for the second like. Scald. And a third. I won't be able to keep up with you guys at this point in time. First 5 likes gets a good skull. What's up, Trash? How you doing, Raymond? Everybody in here. I am too, but Luke, how are... Oh, we got it covered, man. What's up, Raymond? How's everybody doing? So it looks like we're getting a good amount of people here in the show. We just got a few more minutes to see who all else shows up. Guys, if you're new here, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. And if you don't mind, go to this channel at JenHolder976. Go check out at JenHolder976, guys. You know, that's my girlfriend. She makes some wonderful content, too. Another Scald. Scald. All right. So we're getting close to having enough people in here to start the show. All right. What's up, ERT? How you doing, girl? All right, let's go on ahead and found a random marijuana plant in your yard. Wow, interesting. Mow that sucker down so you don't get in trouble. Anyway, guys, so let's get started on the show, shall we? Shall we? Blah. So, why is it important to have support and give support to your family, guys? Well, first off, everybody needs somebody in their corner, and your family is the first people that should be in your corner. You know, guys, family is a word that we're losing the meaning to. You know, guys, we really are. Friends are now becoming family, and family are becoming people that just make us mad. You know, and I see this as a very unfortunate thing, guys. This is awful, unfortunately, that there's so many people out there that don't get support from their family, that don't get the love and recognition they need for who they are. Some people are just different. Some people are awesomely different. You know, some people just need a nudge in the right direction. But all you need is some good support, guys. You just need to be able to take care of them. And they, in turn, need to be able to take care of you. It's a two-way coin, guys. So if you have somebody that is in your life that isn't very supportive, sit down and have a conversation with them. Ask them what the problem is. You know, try to get down to the meat of the problem. And then once you get there, guys, you can usually find a way to compromise. You know, The only problem with it is when you run into a stubborn person who just doesn't want to hear it. They just don't want to believe it. They don't want to hear it. Guys, that can end up being a problem. That can end up costing you some issues and some, basically wasted time, unfortunately. But things like this happen. So these are also things that we need to take into consideration as human beings. Things like this can happen. You can have disappointments, guys, and that's a very unfortunate thing. And if you're disappointed in somebody in your life, don't hate on them. You still got to support them, Kamichi. Oh, I got you, Kamichi. You ain't got to spam the chat, though, man. Tough stuff. Man. You can get out of here, too. See you later, tough stuff. All right, guys. So we've had some trolls already. Don't come back. This is what he's for. We got our nice trusty trolls bane now. Didn't think we were going to need him. Yeah, he kept spamming. I agree with you. That's one thing. Don't spam my chat, guys. I do not appreciate that. There are other people that want to be heard, guys. So let them speak. But support. The best support you should ever get should be from your mother and your father. Those two people right there should support you and love you no matter what. Because you got to understand, you can raise your kids one way and they can turn out to be a totally different person than you. Your kids can end up being someone that's the total opposite. Thank you all so much for the likes. 5th like gets a skull, guys. And thank you all so much for joining the show. But anyhow, guys, thank you all for being here and listening to my rant. But when it comes down to these people that, hello, Paul. What's up with the costume? I actually just like wearing it, man. That's mainly just it. I'm breaking in the breastplate and I made the shoulder armor. I'm showing off my craft. Skull. Anyway, so it's great to actually have support. The worst thing you can do is go through life thinking there's nobody in your corner. Even if you've given these people everything else, even if you bent over backwards for them, you would do whatever they asked. You give them all the support that they need. But if they don't give you any in return, guys, that's toxic. You got to step away from that. And that's a very unfortunate thing. I understand all too well this topic is an unfortunate problem of mine. But I can tell you guys right now, it might be an uncomfortable situation and it might be a hard topic for me to talk about right now. But I want you guys to know, I support you. I believe in you. I think you can do anything. All you got to do is put your mind to it, guys. And that's the important part, putting your mind to it. We have so many people out there with such great ideas and such brilliance that would blow your mind, but they never had any support, so they don't have any confidence, so they don't believe in themselves, so they keep a penny ante 9-to-5 job every day, and their lives are miserable because they never pursued their dreams because they never had the support to do it. And that is a very unfortunate circumstance that happens on a regular basis in American life and around the world, not only. It's just heartbreaking to know that there are people out there who legitimately have nobody in their corner, who legitimately don't have anyone but the friends that they've made and maybe a dog or maybe a cat or something of that kind. If your most supportive thing is a teddy bear, you need to go get you some help, man. It's terrible if that's the way that your family has left you. Because, guys, your ultimate supporter should always be your family. Just like you should always be their ultimate supporter. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter who they turn into. Unless it's someone harmful to society. I get you there. But if they're just a regular Joe, just a little different, guys, there's no reason to hate on them. There's no reason to deny them the respect and the love that a family member is deserved. The support that a family member is deserved. These things are important. These things literally run the world in a wonderful way. What's up, Shark? But they should run the world, actually. But unfortunately, a lot of them don't. Because a lot of people would rather take and just be mad at the fact that you're different. One of me and my dad's biggest issues is my intelligence. My dad is not the brightest tool in the shed. He's not a very worldly person. He hasn't studied things. He hasn't really read books. He's just enjoyed a very simple, hard-working life. And that's it. But that's good. He found what he liked. A hard-working existence. A man with good work ethic. That is cool. That's okay. And I'm happy that he's a craftsman the way he is. I think he doesn't give himself enough credit. I think he could actually make stuff that he could turn around and sell. But, it's totally up to him. But anyway, I don't get that same support. You guys have seen my work. You're looking at some of it right now. Y'all have seen my forging videos. And he still doesn't support it, guys. And that's very hurtful. That's a very painful thing to have to put up with every day. And how you doing there, Alan? But that's a very painful thing to have to put up with every single day of your life, And it's unfortunate whenever you don't get that kind of support that you need, because it's not just me who goes through these things. It's a lot of people. And yeah, I bitched a little bit, and I'm sorry I cussed. But, thank you very much, Alan. But the whole point is that you need support as a human being. It's that enrichment of human interaction, of positivity, of positive human action. That support that you get from that interaction, that is necessary for a rich and happy life, guys. And a wise man knows that a treasured thing is time spent with his fellow man. I get you, Raymond. Oh, I understand, BMC. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh yeah, I do me. Man, he didn't want me to go out with him tonight because I wouldn't take the breastplate off because I'm breaking it in. But without the shoulder armor, it just looks like something a biker would wear. So it's no big deal. But he got rather offended by it. So I didn't get to go out to eat tonight, which is fine. We got stuff here. But, that's what I'm getting at. You need support. I'm doing all of my medical stuff, all of my psychological stuff, all of my YouTube stuff, and all of my government aid stuff all by myself. And I can't always get it accomplished because of my schizophrenia. Sometimes I'm literally stuck in a loop and I have to wait until I get out of that in order to even be able to do any work, guys, other than maybe focusing on the show. And even then I do short shows those days, because it's hard for me to focus, and definitely a good skull for the number 5. Scald for that 5th light. But, guys, that's why I always thank y'all. That's why I always tell y'all, you guys are definitely my family. You guys are definitely what I've always needed in my life. And it's amazing to sit here and see people that can appreciate, handcrafted things. People that can sit back and watch a craftsman do what he does and sit there and be like, you know what, that's cool. I wish I could do that. And then I sit there and turn around and look at you and be like, man, you can. You can. It's just a little practice. Watch the show and I'll teach you how. Guys, and that's why I do step by step on everything that I make. I show you the entire process from start to finish. That's why y'all are a part of it. Guys, that way, it's a Knight's project. It's not my project. It's ours. And some of these stabs, I'm going to see who has the best idea on what to do on it. And then I'm going to turn around and try to do that, guys. And then that staff's up for availability, and That's going to be an awesome thing when we finally get the merchandise store up and running. We just got to finish building up some inventory, which we're still kind of just getting started. So, yeah, a little difficult here, But I definitely enjoy the fact that all you wonderful people come in here to listen to my words. And what I'm getting at here is that, that's a support system. That's something I'm lacking in my life. And you guys ended up becoming that support system. Now, when it comes down to someone else out there that doesn't have somebody that supports them, guys, I'll shake your hand, call you family, and support you anyway. That's just who I am. What's up, Rock? But when it comes down to, certain circumstances, there are things that I won't support people on. Just remember that. If I tell you no, there's a reason. But there's not many of those. They're usually extremely violent, deadly crimes or something like that. Something stupid that all of society, no matter where you go, rejects. So I understand those people just don't deserve any kind of redemption. But, and I don't think they deserve any kind of support. But that's just me. But now when it comes down to people who are just a little different, like you got a kid that's a goth and you happen to be, a churchgoer, but you got a kid that dresses gothic. If they still believe in God, who cares how they dress? They decorated their temple in a different way. That's just how it is. If you have a kid that, suddenly decided that because he read the Quran and he enjoyed it, he decides to go Muslim for a little while. Support him, man. Be there for him. Listen to him, even when you don't want to. Listen to him for a little bit. Let him feel excited about what's going on. And then let him if he gets through it, he gets through it as a phase. If not, it's part of who he is. Guys, it's a really hard thing to be different. It really is. You get persecuted by everybody, including family, guys. But that's also a very unfortunate thing, because family is supposed to be the ones that are always there for you. They're supposed to be the ones that always want to take care of you, and to have a family that doesn't give you support can be a heartbreaking thing. Now, to have a family that you support, that's a wonderful thing. If you can support them and they appreciate it, guys, it's one of the greatest feelings on the planet. You can step in and be like, "Hey, cuz, heard your car needs some fixing. Got a little bit of cash on me. Why don't we roll on down to the O'Reilly's or something like that? We'll get ourselves a car part and we'll get this thing fixed." And then he's just like, "Hey, man, thanks. I have been trying to get around to it, but I've just been too busy." Well, man, two of us can knock it out quicker. Let's get this done. That's the kind of support I'm talking. Or what's up, subject? How you doing? Scalding for my good friend Subject. So how's everybody doing it coming into the show? Thank you all so much for being here. If you're new, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Also, don't forget, go check out @JenHolder976. @JenHolder976. Go check her out. That's my girl. She's absolutely a ball. Go check her out. Anyway, guys, so back to support. If you have a family member that, is struggling and no one else seems to want to give them a hand, guys, be that hand. Give them that help. Don't let them suffer through it. Don't sit back and let your fellow brethren just cry in pain. Reach a hand out. Give them aid. Give them support. If you have a family member, say your brother comes out of the closet, or your sister comes out of the closet, or they come home with their boyfriend or girlfriend, don't be the one that judges them. Don't be the one that hates on them. Be the one that's like, "Oh, wow, okay, that's surprising. I did not see this coming. We're going to talk about this in a good way. But hi, how you doing? Welcome to the family." And that's the best way to support them. Guys. And then, yes, when their boyfriend or girlfriend leaves, have your little family discussion. And those are probably going to end up being messy because they usually always are, because it's family. It's going to get a little messy. But that doesn't mean you can't support them afterwards, guys. If someone comes out being different, have your say-so about it. But don't judge them over it. Don't condemn them for it. Unless it's something absolutely disgusting and hideous. You know, there are certain boundaries that everybody knows I shouldn't have to explain. You know, but guys, if you have a friend or a family member that comes out transgender, you know, by all means, welcome in, he, she, it thing. You know, I don't know what you want to be called. You know, and there's so many different new ways of referring to people now that it's just weird. You know, that it's hard to keep up with sometimes. It really honestly is. But I think I do a fairly decent job of it. You know, but, you know, these people still deserve love. They still deserve support. They still deserve somebody that cares for them. Just because they're different doesn't mean that you got to treat them like they're alien. You know, and I don't even mean the illegal kind. I mean just straight up, what the heck is wrong with you? Because now I have seen some people that I'm looking at going, whoa. Like, people call me extreme, but dude, you take it to a new level. You know, I've seen people like that, but it's all good. You know, I don't see a problem with it. You know, and I've heard a lot of these kind of people sit there and say, man, my family can't stand it. None of them support me. Or, man, they disowned me. Or, man, you know, we haven't talked in years. Or I straight up don't know how they feel. You know, and I hear that so often, it breaks my heart. Because we could do so much better as a society. We could do so much better as family members. We could be supportive of each other. We could literally take and turn around and be like, hey, it's all right. You're different. I'll get used to it. You know, it's not exactly what I would do. But we gonna work on this. We're gonna see how this is gonna do. Because you're my son, or you're my brother, or you're my cousin, or you're my nephew. Whatever it is. You know, guys, for whatever reason. And whoever it is. But make sure that, guys, your family is your ancestral heritage. That is your legacy no matter what. So you always need to be supportive of your family. Whether they support you or not. Always be supportive of them. Now, however, if it turns down to the fact that they just get so toxic you can't be around them, there actually still is nothing wrong with just walking away. Then that's an absolute fact. What's up, Solar? What's wrong, Solar? Castrated. Both ways is better than one way. And you know what? Compromise. Guys, make a compromisation. You know, my dad doesn't mind me walking around in my armor at the house. He doesn't want me going around in public wearing it. If I'm going to a bar, guess who's suiting up? But I doubt I'll ever go to the bar. You know, I don't have any reason to anymore. But, you know, guys, it's support. It's called support for a reason. You know, it's meant to be there to make sure that you don't feel unwanted. To make sure that nobody is alone. You know, and if you support your family and your family supports you, I absolutely give you a big giant thumbs up, man. Because you're one of the lucky ones. You know, you're one of the hopefully many lucky ones. Because I know there's quite a few out there that are unlucky. You know, guys, I happen to be one of them. Me and my sister are black sheeps of the family. I'm a black sheep because I like the whole Renaissance Viking armor and all that stuff like that. My family doesn't really like it at all. But I do. It's who I am. You know, guys, and oh, good Lord. Oh, I've been good castrated. But yeah, guys, you know, there's just so many different steps and so many different things to consider in order to really take and confront somebody that isn't supporting you, though, man. Especially if it's a family member. You got to take a lot of things into consideration. You know, a lot of stuff. And a lot of that is taking the person's personality into account. If their personality is foul, it might not be a good idea to try to have the conversation at all. But if the person is considerate and understanding, have a conversation with them by all means. Because then you can sit down and talk it out like adults. But remember this, the condescending man that cannot see past his own flaws is a greater fool than the man who does not know when to hold his tongue. So that's just an old Viking proverb, guys. And what that means is somebody who's cynical, snide, very, very judgmental, and they can't see the fact that they've got flaws themselves. Guys, those people are more foolish than the guy who can't shut up. They're dumber than the guy who can't keep his mouth shut. And that's a very unfortunate thing. It's because if you're ignorant, you're ignorant, but you still don't care, guys, that's just wrong and bad. That looks really bad on you. But I hope nobody here is like that. So, you can't really have conversations with those kinds of people. So you got to remember who you're talking to at the same time when you go to have any discussion about, hey, I need your support on this, or hey, I need to know why you judge me on these things. Always make sure that you thought it through. So that way maybe it won't end in an argument. Nobody likes to live in a permanent Roseanne episode. So oh, guys, come on, chill out. Who leaked whose address? What's going on now? There's no drama in my chat. Tomorrow will be crazy. Why do you say that? Well, anyway, guys, what are they saying on the news in Australia about the riots? Oh, yeah. What are they saying about that? What's up, Jacob Ryan? Guys, I think I've actually had a long enough rant about support. So why don't we jump straight into the hangout session, shall we? Let's get our stalls set back up. I'd like to thank everybody who's here. Right-wing gang is planning on getting into the protests and then making them violent. Oh, good Lord. What is up, everybody? Hi, Country Girl Sweet. How you doing? Welcome into the chat. Hope everybody's having a great day. We got that 10th like. Let's get that skull going. Scald, everybody. When I first decided to buy this armor, I was a little worried I would actually lose viewers over it. But you know what? At this point in time, I really don't mind. Because, I found this guy called King Emilio, the armor. And now I don't feel so weird. So this is a shout out to King Emilio, the armor. He was actually a pretty cool dude. I really like your show and everything like that. You got a great energy to you. Great vibe. Love your kingdom, man. Hopefully one day the Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum and the Kingdom of King Emilio can maybe have a nice little collaboration. So if anyone would, please send a clip of this to King Emilio. That would be awesome to have him on the show. It would be so cool, king to king. So, yeah, guys, it's going to be awesome to have everybody in here for that show. That should be neat. However, guys, we do have some other plans coming up. Next month, we're going to restart our blacksmithing because we have to replace our propane. But once we get more propane, we're going to start back up our blacksmithing and finish out our Viking sacks. What's up, BMC? Oh, Black Lung Morgan. Oh, I got you. Jake, the Morgans and the Rockefellers. Oh, yeah. BMC, I am, oh, come on, Castrated. You guys, y'all take care. Y'all be kind now. Remember my sayings. Don't make me have to time y'all out for this show. Shout out to Trump. He's keeping America safe. Jacob, he's keeping America safe to a degree, but at the same time, he's causing a lot of issues. I'm saying he could do it in a better way. I don't mind what he's doing. I actually agree to an extent about what he's doing. But what I don't agree with is how he's doing it. That's where the extent part comes in. I don't agree with how he's doing it. I think he could do a lot better than what he's currently doing at this point in time with his administration. He could have went about this in a much easier way that didn't drive America into chaos across the country. because we either got riots in one section, we got fires up north, and we've got flooding down here in the south. So, I mean, there's a few more important things to worry about, than some illegal immigrants at the moment in time. You could have done it through a more systematic means, is all I'm getting at. Oh, okay, I got you castrated. Why did he start an insurrection? Subject, I have no idea. I have no idea, subject. I completely agree with you there. That's why I just don't trust any of them. Politicians or, people who are in big entertainment, Hollywood professionals. I don't trust any of them. I'd never leave my child around any professional singer. If they're going backstage, I'm going backstage. It would never happen. I don't care who they are, even if they're the daggum Wiggles. It's not going to happen. Because you know what? The Wiggles could have been having some issues there too. But luckily they didn't. But it's all beside the point. Don't care nothing about the P. Diddy stuff. Yeah, I agree with you. What's up, Purple Zombies? Welcome back into the show, man. We actually got about 29 minutes left in the show. So welcome in, everybody. Thank you all for showing up. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and go check out my girlfriend at JenHolder976. Go check her out. I just don't support any of this stuff going on right now, guys. Honestly, the only people who are getting my support are the people losing their homes. The only people getting my support are the people losing their businesses. The people getting my support are the ones who are caught in the crossfire. They're just trying to live a simple, happy life, guys. There's a lot of people that are stuck like that right now. They're trying to live a good life. And people are screwing it up. They're throwing laws out there. They're throwing rules and regulations and all this bull crap that makes it to where it's hard to even be human anymore. You have to be a machine, basically. You literally have to work yourself to death. And it's not cool anymore, guys. We're not the 18th century. Something can come about this. Something can be fixed. Something can be figured out. And that's all I'm calling for. I'm calling for scientists. I'm calling for engineers. I'm calling for the world's most brilliant minds to come together like a World's Fair and to literally take and try to come up with a brainstorming idea to solve some of our bigger issues. And not something that might happen, with this going on. I'm talking about really put their heads together like the Manhattan Project and getting a man on the moon. Really put their heads together and create. Really do something to solve all this. Because I guarantee you it could be done. But we've been stuck in this weird loop where entertainment technology has become more important than, clean energy. It's become more important than, learning new skills. Guys, it's a really unfortunate thing. World don't need scientists. World needs Jesus. You can pray and pray all you want, man, but your life ain't going to get any better. You're going to have to get up off your butt and do it. That's the only problem. Even Jesus, can't solve these issues right now. Unfortunately, it's going to take us. It's going to take us as the human race. And the reason why he can't solve these issues is because he don't want to. And it's not that he don't love you. It's not his time to do it yet. It's not his time to come back. So, therefore, he's not going to solve these problems. We got to. We got to make them right. We got to fix them. That is the whole issue. My life got better with Odin as well. So I can understand what you mean. Everybody's religion calls to them different. Oh, that's good. I'm not banned. What's your live stream for a long time because I was busy. My live stream on YouTube, post regular videos, and post source. Gotcha, Purple. It's the rearing of humans that's the problem there, Alan. It's how humans are raised. We need to raise our people better. We need to teach our people better. We need to show them a better way to go about it. You know, and the easiest way to do that is to teach them common courtesy and respect. You know, guys, once you start having these things, you can end up actually figuring out a much better world. You can create a better existence. It's easy to do. You know, the hardest part is convincing people to do it. That's the hard part. Convincing them to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it because they don't want to deal with change. They don't want to deal with change because they don't want the world around them to be any different. You know, but guys, if you don't let the world around you change, you become stagnant. And when you become stagnant, you quit growing. And when you quit growing, you start to die. You start to fade away. There's nothing left of you. But guys, when you make yourself grow, when you improve yourself, every day you get out there, you try your best, you push harder all day long. You push that limit and you keep yourself in check. You mind your P's and Q's. You're like, okay, no, I'm not going to do that. My book says I can't do that. I won't do that. My book says I don't judge. I won't judge. My book says I tell the truth. I tell the truth. My book says that I do this. I do that. You know, guys, that's just how it works. And that's the reason why I said my book is because I'm referring to just religion in general. That's how it works. You know, and it makes it simple. It makes it easy. It makes life better. You know, and that's something that I do agree with. Religion is something needed. You need to be able to believe in something or you'll fall for anything. You know, and that's just truth. So I've seen people who don't have religion and they fall for this dumb flat earther nonsense. You know, I'm like, really? You don't believe in science. You don't believe in sometimes even a bath for some of them. And I'm just like, take a shower, need a bar soap. But, you know, they don't believe in anything. They don't believe in anything. And they fall for all the stupid crap every time. And it breaks my heart to see it when people go through that. Because I'm like, you're smarter than this. You've got more brilliance than this. America's got more intelligence than this. We should be one of the smartest countries in the world. And instead, we're one of the dumbest. You know, we're getting so close to that dangerous mark of making idiocracy a reality. And if you've ever seen that movie Idiocracy, guys, you know, that would be a very, very, very sad world to live in, would be Idiocracy. You know, I couldn't do it. Voting machines have had an update, and then after the update disappeared. I got you. You see what I mean? You know, that's what I'm getting at. They lie to us a lot, guys. They really, really do. And it's depressing. The good leaders are all gone. We're stuck with you know, entertainers and money-making machines. That's it. We're stuck with people who are more interested in a career than they are the protection, safety, and improvement of our nation, of our people, of our culture. Instead, they're getting rid of it. They're writing people out of history. You know, they're taking certain things away. They're getting rid of certain freedoms. And we're letting them do it. We're letting them do it. It's very unfortunate. It's never a good thing when you literally start letting your government walk all over you. Because the next thing you know, it's going to be all their show. It's going to be all their show. And we, the people, by the people, for the people, you know, is gone. It no longer means anything. What our ancestors set up on this continent will end up becoming nothing. And that, as someone who believes heavily in their ancestors, really disturbs and breaks my heart. You know, that is one of the worst things that I could ever hear. You know, that was one of the worst things that I ever knew, was that people can't even tell you the first president of the United States anymore. and he's only on a dollar bill. You know, guys, and I've heard one person think that Benjamin Franklin was the first president. At least she got the year right. That's for that 15th like. Thank you so much. Good scald. We're going to fill this up with the last scald of the night. Because honestly, guys, I'm having some family drama. So I'm probably going to be leaving and getting off here in the next few minutes. I'm probably only going to go for another 5 minutes. You know, and I do apologize for that. But there are some things I need to fix in my family right now. And they're not going to be pretty. But they need to be fixed. I do not know. I do not know why he wasn't sent. Guys, I can't answer any of these questions about these politicians. All I can really tell you is none of them can be trusted. There isn't a single one of them that I would ever trust with managing, even if it was something as simple as managing a property, for a trailer park. I wouldn't trust them. Not as far as I could throw a house, guys. And trust me, ain't far. I'm glad to see you're still here. And yes, innocent people have died. It's a very unfortunate thing, guys. But let me go on ahead and go water and feed my dog, and I'll be right back, guys. Let me get this last scald out of the way. Yeah. Scald, my friends. All right. Hold on one moment. Oh. Looks like my alarm's going off. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry for that being so loud. I know it was. I completely forgot it was going to go off here in a second. Israel is scripture. I got you. Guys, we just, Clint, it's dinner time. Yeah, pretty much, man. That's what I just had to do for my shuck. So, yeah, guys, I'm probably going to go here in the next couple minutes. And it's only because I've got to go deal with these family problems. So, I'm probably just going to go on ahead and go, guys. Thank you all so much for the likes and everything. I'll talk to you all next time. See you tomorrow for final thoughts. And hopefully tomorrow morning for Clint's Critter Chat. All right? Talk to you then. Bye, everybody.